And hey, welcome. Happy Saturday, happy 5G Game Gear Race Day, just happy Sega in general. I am Booster Shane and I am joined here with JKL. How's it going, JKL?
Everything is going well here. I'm just excited to see how this race will turn out.
Oh man, me too. We were just talking about before we went live just how amazing this list of games are, and pretty much there's not a weak one in the bunch.
Yeah, like when I did practice for the race, there was not a single game I felt like, oh, I need to learn this. Like every game was like super fun to learn. It's just a really solid list. Like the puzzle game is super fun, the adventure game is super fun, the platformers are really solid. So so I'm hoping to see a really fun race
And I
today.
know I know we will, and it also just shows how solid the Game Gear library is. It's so underrated, and I think it's just because we don't think about the Game Gear much. And you'll see that game list down there at the bottom left-hand corner. You'll see all our runners right now on that first game screen. Tempo Junior, which is one of the platforms you were talking about, JKL.
Yeah, yeah, playing basically a slow platformer, but like with really good controls. It's not a hard game, but for a speed run, there's a lot of small movement optimization, and I believe we have the world record holder in the race. Is that correct? Is Will Bob the world record holder, or
That is correct. He
yeah,
also made the tasks as well, so he knows this game intimately.
yeah? So we are gonna see some top level Tempo Junior right off from the very start here.
Absolutely. Then the next game after that, number two, is Vampire Master of Darkness, which a lot of us are familiar with the Master System version, but we're going to show off the Game Gear version today.
Yeah, and I think Gnar for example, I know did did the Master 8 where the game was in, and it was the same goal. So he had some previous experience with the game, and the games, the versions are very alike. There's like a few rooms they changed up in the Game Gear version, but all in all, it's just as good as the original game or the Master System version.
Absolutely, I agree. And then number three is that puzzle game you were talking about, Baku Baku Animal. I know JKL can go either way with the puzzle game. How do you feel about this one?
I really liked it because in a way it's hard to go like really fast in the game because you can't instantly knock your opponent out. You can just build it up to a certain point. But that's what makes it fun as well because you need to have that extra little bit of luck. So I really enjoyed it, and I believe Reddit that is racing has the world record now. So hopefully we will see a good time on that game, but it's a game where like you will either get a 4 minute time or you will get an 8 minute time. Like there's
Yeah,
there's
it
just
could be a
hoping.
separator here.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, you mentioned Reddy with the world record. That world record went back and forth early on in practice. You know, not only do we have the racers that we'll introduce here shortly, but we also had a few racers pushing early on. And even though they couldn't be here today, I think yourself, JKL, and Patak need shout outs because you guys really helped push the competition early on in this race.
Like I think that's important to say. Like even if you can't join these races on race day because of things, like you can still join it early with the practice. Just help the people that are going to participate to help them get fast times to make the race faster, to make it more competitive. Like you don't have to show up on race day to be a part of the 5G. or the Master 8 or Sega 8 or whatever race. Like just be there, practice, have fun, and see if you can join or not.
And even just trying out the games. I know a lot of people just will fire up the list even if they have no plans of racing, because it's a great way to be introduced to new games, especially with game number 4,
Yeah,
which I really hope people after this race take on, which is Sylvan Tale. Such an amazing action game. I don't know if you'd call it RPG. It has some similar elements, but it's definitely a great action game. What do you think about that one, JKL?
yeah, I would definitely call it an action RPG because you do get like new abilities, you get more health throughout the game, even though it's not an experience system. And I think the game is super fun. Like it has a lot of menuing, which you will need to memorize because the game is in Japanese. I don't know if we allow the English patch for the race day, but we did put it in the ROM pack so people could enjoy the game casually, like learn where everything was.
Absolutely, and if someone did use it, it's actually a slower version, so I would allow it because it's not an advantage whatsoever, other than understanding the story, which could be pretty dark at times and a lot of fun. But then we finally cap off the race with game number 5. We got in the Illusion series. We have Legend of Illusion, and JKL, you were telling me this one's your favorite in the series.
I really enjoyed this illusion game. Like it still has a lot of out scrollers, and basically the final 8 minutes of the run is basically an auto scroller. But somehow I feel like it's not that bad. Like it's still enjoyable all the way to the end.
Heck yeah. Absolutely. And it's going to be a fun one to cap off here. I think in our first Master 8 race, we ended on Land of Illusion, or an illusion game. So it's kind of a nice little you know, tradition that maybe we're trying to build, ending with an illusion game. But
Yeah.
now, as you can see, we've had all 5 of our. Not actually, we have 7 runners, but right now these are the 5 that are coming into our server. But we got some heavy hitters here. We got up there in the top left, Narblast. Right across from him, JFred99. Bottom left, Arno 33200. Over on the right, who also helped make these layouts we got ready over there. And then in the middle, like JKL said, the world record holder, Squilly Bob, right there in center. But this is a great lineup. What do you think, JKL?
Yeah, I think this will be a really interesting and a high tight race, which 5G races always are. Like I think the first one was like a minute apart, and I think the second one was like 2 minutes apart. So I'm feeling really good to get this race started and just see who will be able to pull off the best time.
Absolutely, and it's going to go quick. This is going to be a sub 90 race for the winner. So they are definitely speed running through this list of 5 games. It's going to be fun. And, also streaming right now, and we'll definitely check in with them periodically. We got Random 64 and we got Fede PG52. No strangers here to the SegaCrew races here. They always love to come in blind and participate in these races. And it's always so great whenever I wake up race morning and we got Random 64 and Fede joining in, and it's just like awesome. Heck yeah, I love seeing, once the race is done and we go and raid someone, to just kind of sit back and watch someone enjoy these games blind and get through this list. Always a great way to end every race.
Yeah, and the 5G is actually a pretty good list to do blind compared to like a longer list where they can be playing for 24 hours. I would
Yep.
say this list they can probably get through in under 5 hours blind.
Yeah, an hour a game. I think that's a very fair goal. Absolutely. You know, now
Yeah,
you have the rest of your weekend.
yeah. Like the only game that might take a long time is like Sylvan Tale. Like all other games are pretty straightforward.
And again, that's also why I included the English patch is for the blind runners. You know, it's not going to be if you haven't watched the world record runs of Sylvan Tale, you might not know where to go to get the pick up the comb. But yeah, I think we're all ready. I know that the racers are ready. So, JK, let's get this race started. What do you say?
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's get started.
Absolutely. So, I just put ready in there, and for all the racers, I am quitting now, and we'll see that timer start.
Yeah, I can see it counting down in the background, but there will be a little bit of delay.
And there we go. The race has begun. Good luck,
Yeah.
all racers, and welcome to the 5G.
Yeah, so for this game, like the first stage isn't that hard. Like it's very quick. You need to collect a key, and then you need to get to the end of each level. And every third level is a boss fight. However, coming up right at the beginning of stage 2 is a somewhat big skip. I think if you go for it and hit it, you gain like 20 seconds compared to not going for it.
So that could be a nice early jump.
Yeah, we will see. I think Nordblast is the first person coming up to it here. So you need to manipulate the spawn here of the second guy, and then you need to get the bump, and he got up completely fine. And Squilly Bob got it as well. Reddy did miss it, but he didn't kill the enemy, so... Ooh, now he killed it. I don't know if they respawn. I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either.
So he needs to take the long way around, but I don't know if he has practiced it. It's not that bad, because I did it in one of my runs, and it's just like half a minute. You need to go around everything.
Yeah, I don't think it's too bad of a time loss. I think really it's just missing something early on like that, making sure you shake it off, and just know this is a long race. Lots to
Yeah,
make up.
yeah, it's usually better to make a big mistake early on than late.
And you see Narblast already completed the boss fight. Squilly Bob as well there. We're going to see the uncuttable dance cutscene. But why would you ever want to cut this scene anyway? Skip it. Why would you ever want to skip that? J Fred on the clown as well. Reddy just joins them. Already a really nice start for all racers here.
And for the boss here, you basically want to get into a rhythm to get into where you can kick him, then get out where he can't hit you, and then go back and forth.
Yeah, Tempo's got those awesome JCVD spin kicks.
Yeah. Yeah. He has 3 different kinds of attacks. One is his spin kick. The other one is the one you can see Squilly Bob use here, which is throwing the musical note, which you can also use to cancel your jump momentum. So you can shoot to just get to the ground faster after jumping. And then you have the roll as well.
I'm glad you brought up the jumping. One thing we should point out that's, not obvious when you see these racers running because they're playing this game at such a high level, but there is a sprint dash mechanic in this game that you can't jump out of, that you have to come to a stop before you can jump. And It takes a while to kind of get used to.
Yeah, yeah, and like you see, like when they get to enemies, they do not stop and jump over them. They do the spin attack, but right after they have done the spin attack, they either cancel the bounce with hitting A or the jump button again, which when you do it in the air, you flutter your wings so you can fly for longer. But it also prevents you from keep gaining height. So that's something they do to get out of the spin animation quickly. So it's a really technical game, even though it might not look like it when you're just looking at it like this.
And that's one of the reasons why I think this game is so much fun casually and as a run, because it's got that kind of high level of technique where you got to put in time to get used to it. But it's also just a lot of fun to throw on and play through it. Here, I love this frog boss here.
It's the worst boss in the game, but
but it's such a unique fight. I love the design and the idea behind it.
Yeah, basically they're trying to stand on a certain position in the screen and just jump and shoot. And if the head goes high, they wanna jump low enough to not get eaten. And it can only eat you while it's not in iframes as well. So usually you have time to hit it before it hits you.
And we just saw our first lead change there with Squilly Bob finishing that boss off before Gnar, and we're also seeing Reddy catching up here quick too.
I think who comes out of the lead of this game will probably depend on the only RNG that is in this game, basically, which is the final boss rush, where you will fight, is it 3 out of the 5 bosses or something?
Mm-hmm.
And you do not want to fight the frog again. That's basically the only RNG you actually care about, is not getting the frog again.
Absolutely. And we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun part of this early race. We'll see who gets the good luck and who gets the bad luck early on.
Yeah, I know Gnorblast has a really good time in this game, considering I don't think he practiced for the first week or something, but he is really good at picking up games really quickly.
Yeah, he came on strong. I believe he's only 30-40 seconds off of Squilly Bob's PB that he put in the timesheet. And I don't know if those time that Squilly Bob put in, I don't know if that's his world record or just what he's gotten since he's practiced. But either way, Gnar not too far behind him.
Yeah, now we have the penguin boss.
And who doesn't want to just spin kick a penguin? Oh yeah. Just behead him.
Yeah, the penguin is 100% scripted, I believe. Like, the snowballs will always fall in the same places, so they know exactly what they need to do.
And this game's not too shocking for most of us retro fans, but keep in mind, this game was made specifically for children, for a younger audience, and here you are kicking a penguin's head off.
Yeah, and I always wondered in this stage that Squilly Bob is in, why there are coins in the background. Like, it feels like you're meant to pick them up, but you can't pick them up.
Absolutely. No kidding.
Also, here we have another skip coming up from Squilly Bob. Basically, you just jump up there and flutter a little bit, and you can skip, I would say, around 8 seconds of the stage. It's not a big skip, and it's a lot easier than the first skip, so I'm not expecting anyone to miss it. Yeah, Gnorblast got it as well.
Oh yeah, gosh, these dance moves, they're just killer.
Yeah. Yeah, and this stage Squilly Bomb is on, you mostly fly over, like, you don't even see the stage.
Which is a good thing. A lot of flashing in this stage. I should have
Yeah.
warned everyone. Flashing light warning. And Reddy actually catching up little by little. He's making up some time.
Yeah, I see that he's not that far away. Okay, and Squilly Bob will be the first person into the boss rush coming up here.
See what combinations
Yeah,
really encounters here.
I think the first boss is always the same. No, the first boss can be... Oh right, we have to fight the real boss of this stage before we get to the boss rush. You always forget about this boss because it's not really that entertaining. It's a beat that you just jump on. Gnorblast seems to be about half a health bar behind Squilly Bob right now.
Alright.
Okay, let's see.
Match.
Oh, he got the frog. Yeah, you can get the frog or... Is it the hat guy or the first boss you can get on the first cycle, I believe. Let's see. If Gnorblast gets the other one... Oh, it's the frog or the penguin. So Gnorblast should make up a little bit of time here.
See what the time difference is here. So 11:55. Squilly Bob is able to finish that boss off. Let's see how far behind Gnorblast is, because it's not too far.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
So about 20 seconds, 10 seconds, I mean.
Yeah, and Reddy is about to enter the final bosses as well.
See what kind of luck Reddy gets here. Grudge match. Oh, the frog. Here we go. 2 double frogs. It's a double frog kind of day.
Yeah. I mean, the frog is the most interesting boss, so it's not bad for the viewers.
Exactly. Yeah. I love this fight. But yeah, I only went through it casually, semi-casually anyway.
Arnold got the penguin. So it's
2 penguins and 2 frogs.
Yeah, been 50-50. Let's see what Fred gets. So
yeah, he's getting close.
See who is the winner today. Is it the frog or the penguin? And Squilly Bob is on the final boss. So basically you just kick it and hope that you don't get hit.
Of course.
Which I was surprised he didn't get hit for that long. This is gonna be a sub 14, which is a really good time. Yeah, that's
there we go.
First game.
Around 13:40.
Let's
Let's see if
see.
Nar kept that 10-second lead there. Yep, just about. He might have shaved off a second.
Yeah.
But really close going into Vampire Master of Darkness here.
Yeah.
JKL, do you want to talk about the new strat that was just discovered?
Yeah.
Literally last night.
Yeah, I've been super sick the last couple of days, so I just been laying in bed sleeping, and then I woke up this morning. I turned on Gnarblast stream, and he was like, "Oh, JKL, did you see this amazing new glitch in Master of Darkness?" And I was like, "Okay, this gotta be juicy." So basically, when 4-bit was playing the game a little bit, he accidentally died at the same time he picked up a health potion. And for some reason, the game, instead of like either killing him or like giving him health, the game decides to just skip the whole level. So basically, there's gonna be a whole new category for this game, both on the MOS system and the Game Gear, because I think they said it works on both versions. Where basically you don't need to complete any of the levels, because
Or
you can
boss
use...
fights.
Yeah, it skips the boss fights completely. So
I mean, it's a
don't...
brand new game, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know, like, technically how much it saves, because it does take a lot of time to actually die, but it probably saves minutes in total, especially just in resets, because the biggest reset points I would say are the bosses in this game. But we
Especially
decided...
that old boss.
Yeah, the skull boss is really... That's probably the next point where the race can swing a lot in this race. I see that Squillbob is probably not as well practiced in this game as Gnarblast, because Gnarblast is just blasting through this game really quickly and
they're like on the
up.
same pixel right now. Oh, until that point right there. That was really cool.
And I know Reddy is really good at Master of Darkness as well, so he can definitely make up some time here as well. So it's gonna be interesting. Like the main things
there
in
we
this...
go, another lead change right there. Narblast is taking the lead.
Yeah, the main thing in this game is you wanna keep the X, and you don't want enemies to knock you down into pits. That's the two things that can ruin your run. And the skull boss can is probably the only thing that can actually kill you by depleting your health. Yeah, they also have sub-weapons. They will be using the bombs mainly, and how they are gonna use the bombs are, like you saw Gnarblast do right there, is clearing enemies that are higher up to places where you need to go, or mainly bats that are the most annoying enemies in all games.
Mm-hmm. They really prove it on this one as well.
Yeah. And unlike, you know, the old Castlevania games, they actually decided that, like, yeah, jumping from stairs are probably a good mechanic in these games. So you will be able to jump from stairs here to climb them a little bit faster. And here we have the first boss. I call him Jack the Ripper. I don't know if it's supposed to be Jack the Ripper. I just call him that.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
So they are trying to stay on the right side, because he has two actions he can do after getting hit. It's either to slash at you or jump. And I think he can do nothing as well.
And to answer ZG's question, we actually have also Fede, PG, and Random64 streaming on their own channels. I'm guessing blind or semi-blind, as well as these 5 racers.
Yeah. Yeah, and this room is probably the worst one in casual play. But if you have bombs here, you see they just throw it, walk past the blast zone, and let the enemies die to the blast zone. The bombs leave. Ooh, there's a small skip in the room Gnarblast was in, but he decided to not go for it. I know he accidentally
It's going
died
okay so far.
earlier,
I
and
took the bomb out
Squillybob
there
did
because
go
we
for
had
it,
some
so
weird issues with the jump
Squillybob gained
yesterday,
a lot of time right there.
and I'm
Back
not
to
going to risk falling
equal.
in that pit.
Ooh. It's not good when these spawning rooms go out of hand like that, but it was okay.
Get out of here, dude.
And Red is going for the quick one as well.
So we probably lost some time. We're probably still
Yeah,
we're
Red is
now we're
definitely
further behind.
gaining a lot of time in this game. And as I said before, I believe he has the world record
It's okay.
in the puzzle game, which doesn't really matter because it's so RNG heavy.
Absolutely.
But still, if he is close enough, oh, Reddy did not realize he needed to kill the bat as well to get the floor to despawn. Yes, Willy Bob and Norblast is just a second between each other now.
And I love this stage here where it's just like you got furniture coming
Yeah,
after you now.
and this is
Candelabras and chairs.
yeah, this is probably the worst room in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty much an auto scroller. You just have to, kill the enemies as quick as possible. That's how a lot of these screens are in this stage section here.
Yeah, and like if you start missing one, just one enemy, everything just goes to crap. Like you are gonna get hit a lot. You can see here, Reddy is just controlling the room perfectly here. Here we come to the roof section, which is probably the most scary part of the run, just because, yeah, there's pits everywhere, there are bats everywhere, there are people with guns everywhere. Like, just everything here can
Hmm.
kill
Yeah,
you.
there's nothing worse than getting knocked into a pit by a bat when you're just trying to make a simple jump.
Yeah, just look at this single bat on Gnarblast's screen, just messing him up. Like,
Exactly.
like if they could have made the worst boss ever be a small bat that took 10 hits, and it would have been like the worst boss ever created.
Yeah, you
Okay,
can see it messing up
coming
Squilly
up
Bob
here,
here too. He's
uh,
wanting to
Our
make this
luck is gonna
jump,
show
but
that
okay, he
uh,
makes
we're
it.
getting
Very
close.
nice.
coming up here on Gnarblast, we have the Skull buff, which can spawn in 4 different spots. He takes 8 X hits, and you can one cycle him, but I think most people are gonna go for a 2 cycle.
Yeah, two
And
cycle is it's still pretty good. It's very easy to end up three cycling this skull.
yeah,
You end up taking damage and getting knocked back instead of hitting,
yeah,
and
That
all
was
of
a
a
pretty good
sudden
fight. It wasn't
this
great, but it was
gets
pretty
out
good.
of hand real quick.
Narblast
We
had
did
a
that without
really good
death,
fight, and
and
Reddy is already at Skull
that's definitely a
boss. He
positive.
caught up a lot, but
No
his first
kidding.
cycle was not great. Using the bombs are actually not that great on this boss. I know people throw bombs just because like the skull moves around randomly. The
It's a
thing with
safe strat, but slow.
yeah, because the bombs only do I think it's half the damage of the X.
Exactly. Yep.
So like you would need to at least land 2 bombs to make it count.
Exactly. And while he's in iframes, you're not landing any extra damage, so you pretty much have to wait for those iframes to end to throw another bomb just to equal one axe swing. So it's definitely slower. It's definitely more apparent in the Master System version, where with the bigger screen, one of the advantages is having a boss's health bar.
Yeah. Yeah, and for the third level, the really interesting part is gonna be free with the the clock
Weird
pendulums.
We're-
I
Hmm.
guess you call them, because you can one cycle all of them, but two of them, if you're a little bit off, you can lose a lot of time. Like the first one, you can actually die by missing.
Hmm.
And when you die in this game, it doesn't matter if you're at the boss or at the beginning, you will always go back to the very start of the level.
Yeah, the pendulums, you are absolutely right. It's going to be essential for them to not die. And it can be tough to one cycle it. You really have to have this game memorized and know that this is the screen I'm entering, because if you're not constantly moving forward, you're going to miss time the pendulum jump.
Yeah, and Gnar Blast is on one of the hardest jumps in the game. Oh, he's gonna take the long way around,
Hmm.
which isn't that much slower, but it's still a time loss. That jump is actually pixel perfect,
Nice.
I believe, but you can also just tiptoe to the
That
correct
jump
spot.
just wasn't happening today.
I'm wondering if he went the slower way just because of also his health was so low.
Yeah, it could be.
Nice backwards boost there through the enemy. Yeah, you can see how these bats can really slow your momentum on these
So
screens.
that was the first pendulum, and then it's the second one where you can die on, which is coming up right after this room for Gnarlblast. So he needs to buffer a jump here, jump off, and jump again. When did he? Oh, I didn't know there was a platform there. Okay, so luckily he didn't die there. That could have been a big time loss.
Yeah, you know,
I
that jump's not nearly as bad as the Master System, where you pretty much have to, like you said, I think it's pixel perfect to land that jump.
Yeah,
But you have that little safety net on this smaller Game Gear
yeah,
screen here.
yeah, and Gnarlblast made it through well. One thing I did in my practice here was I kept holding right after falling down to this boss. You should never do that because you will fall off here and die.
Yes, you will. Absolutely. That is a pit on either side of this.
So this boss is very simple. He just spins around. You need to time your hits. Usually you want to kill him before he starts slowing down. This will be a little bit of slow kill for Gnarblast.
Yep,
Let's
and
see if,
ready now on this
yeah, let's
fight.
see if Reddy can get. Ooh, you want to get 2 hits on the first cycle, but that's okay. Okay, before we get started with Boku, I should probably explain how the game works. So, for people that don't know this game, you will have different vegetable, fruits, whatever, like bananas, dog bones, which is not a vegetable or dog or fruit, but basically
We'll see.
different things that different animals likes. And you need to get, for example, carrots. You need to get a rabbit to eat. Dog bones, a dog, bananas, monkey, and so on. And you want to send over garbage to your
Also,
opponent,
somehow I reset the
which you
game.
will see on a
Once we
small
get started.
screen to the right. And the bigger combo you get, the more garbage you will send over. So basically the strat is just throw stuff to the sides and hope that you get combos.
E- Exactly. So one reason I really like this speed run, and probably why you enjoy this puzzle run as well, JKL, is we both run columns, and columns,
Yeah,
you're just throwing stuff down, and eventually you're like, "There's my PB. Thank you,
yeah.
game." And so you really have no control. Where this is kind of a combination where that's how you set up this speedrun strat, and then it does take actual gameplay and actual thought in how to place these pieces. So it's kind of a nice speed run because not only are you relying on RNG, but you do have to play the game at a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I usually tell people when I say I'm bad at puzzle games, and then people point out that I have records in puzzle games. I basically tell them, well, have you checked the speed run of the game? Because usually the games I speed run that are puzzle games are basically just throw things down and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And Gnorblast got a really good time on the first guy. Willy Bob is not playing it as aggressive, and it doesn't look like Red is playing it as aggressive either. Which, if they're good at the game, they probably have a consistent
Ah,
5 to 6 minute time. But if Narbas keeps having this luck, that could also mean that he could pull away even more.
Hmm. Yeah, you can see how both Reddy and Squilly Bob are letting their pieces lower, whereas Nar's really pushing down on a lot of these moves.
Yeah, there's also one weird function in this game where uh, if you check that Gnorblast screen, you can see it says 1p next to your opponent, and the game can't perform two actions at the same time. Meaning that if you have, let's say you have 4 youngs to send over that Gnorblast has now, and you notice that it didn't send over right there, and that's because he was clearing something on his own, and the game will just not register that the game should send over Young. So once you get Young, like you have to decide: do I wanna keep clearing, or should I just wait to get the Young moved over to my opponent?
Hmm.
Like now he has 20, so yeah,
hey
you
Dom,
see
thanks, man.
22 didn't send over Young because Young can only be sent over after the CPU has done a move. So you see, he keeps building up, but it does send over, and now it did send over. Now
Yeah,
he's
that was a
really
nice
close to
chance
winning.
to do it. Yeah, that was a
Also,
nice win.
also one thing
Oh
with the
my god,
Yunk in
she's
this
not
game
freaking
is because
hiding.
it's not like in a Tetris game or something where
God,
like
that was rough.
the game
I kept on hitting
intentionally
her sights. He kept on clearing off like 2
doesn't do
sections.
Tetrises for you. In this game, like if you send over 40 garbage, it could give your opponent a big combo just because the pieces are randomized. So you could get screwed by sending over stuff as well. And both Reddy and Gnarblast is on the final guy. I call him Gino before he joined Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, and I think you can see Reddy's really amped up the gameplay. He's being a little more aggressive now.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, what I said, because I did get the world record first, was that I only wanted the world record before someone actually good played the game. And I can see that I got the world record just in time because I can see that Reddy actually knows how to play this game. So
Oh my god, look at his
also
attack.
something you can
What
pay
the fuck?
attention to as well when you're running this game is that you and your opponent will get the same pieces, and you saw at some points that the players got Bs, which clears all of the icon they touch, which means that your opponent will also get it. So because of the mechanic of sending over junk only works when you're not clearing anything. If you know the opponent are going to get a B really close, you can delay it until you know you can combo it out. Also, Ready is in the lead.
Martha, what the
That
fuck
was a
are you
really
doing,
quick
dude?
Baku Baku.
God damn, she just knocked
Yeah,
my wrist
no
over.
kidding. That was very impressive by Reddy there.
Yeah, so tell us about Sylvan Tale, your favorite game.
Yeah, on this list of banger games, absolutely. This is probably my very favorite on this list, and possibly on this handheld. This is a Japanese exclusive. It was the same development team that did the Golden Axe Warrior on the Master System, and I really feel like it's a successor, spiritually anyway, because it has nothing to do with that world. But you know, it's a top-down adventure RPG, very much a ripoff of the Game Gear, or excuse me, the Game Boy Zelda game. What is it? A Link in Time? Is that the Game Gear or Game Boy Zelda
Yeah,
game?
no,
Link,
Link's Awakening, right?
Link's Awakening. That's right. And so you know, there's a lot of pushing and pulling in that game. So of
Yeah.
course, in Sylvan's Tale, you need a lot of pushing and pulling. So you'll notice these runners pushing statues and pulling switches and all that. But it's just, I mean, this game really shows off the capabilities of the Game Gear. It's just stunning color, as you're going to see. Just amazing sprite work, amazing music, and it's just a lot of fun.
I think Nordlas lost his match as well, so the lead is extending slightly. We will see when the next person gets in here. But this is probably one of the more scary games on this list, because you have the option to save whenever you want, but you know,
That still costs time.
someone is gonna get a little bit too confident and not save when they should save. Also, I see that Red is going for the health pickup here, which you can skip if you feel like you don't need it, but it will grant you about one extra hit from enemies, which for the very first dungeon is actually can be really important, because you will see we will run to the right here. Usually you would run to the left and turn off this fire floor, but we are just gonna walk on it until we get through it. Oh, and he did get a drop here, which is really good. He can use it to restore his health a little bit. So usually you would go down here first and push this block on top of that to turn off the fire floor, but it's just faster to not do it. And we pick up the, well, basically the master key, but I don't know the story, but I assume that it's an item that has some significance to the story.
Yeah, exactly. You have these gates, and we'll see one of them where you can transport to another world. There's 3 of them in this whole game. So we're seeing not quite half the game, but we're seeing a pretty good chunk. This is probably the longest game on the race. I'm pretty sure.
I would say a good run of this is as long as an okay run on Legend of Illusion. So I would say Legend of Illusion or this will be the longest game on your run. So here we have the first boss, which you can hit him after he does that fire attack. Every other attack he will shoot it from the sides.
Yep, either diagonal or straight into the side.
Yeah, exactly. Every other time it will swap between them.
You know, that boss reminds me of 2 different bosses in Golden Axe Warrior. There's one that turns into kind of a spinning thing, and then another one that teleports, and then he'll shoot out fire in that kind of combination. So it's kind of like a combination of 2 bosses.
Yeah. Yeah, so next, after beating that boss, you get a new attack upgrade, which for some reason your sword can't cut vines unless you stab them, which doesn't make sense, but okay, game. and and sadly we have to get the light. Trust
Yeah, you were
me,
just telling me about this.
that was the very first thing I was like, I'm gonna skip the light. But the game puts an invisible wall unless you have the candle right here, coming up in the next cave here.
Which is, I'm really surprised because there's another cave later in the game where you can't see, obviously, and the speedrunners have picked up the lantern or the candle because maybe it is a lantern, I don't remember, but because the only category on SRC right now is 100%, so they pick up that item regardless, and later on they don't use it, and you can, complete that dungeon without using the light. So it's really strange that the very first time you have to pick it up. I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and maybe like they did it because they were like, okay, we're not really telling the player where to go, and if they get here, they might accidentally go through here without lantern and be like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go. So they might just have put it in there just to make sure that people wouldn't soft lock themselves by not being able to get back or something.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, just to kind of help the player a little bit out. So here's a mini boss that Reddy's on. This is all RNG, and it can be tricky to land. I think you need 6 hits, and it's easy to kind of miss if you get a bad spawn on one of the corners. But
yeah,
you just able to get through that quick.
The hitbox is slightly off, in my opinion. Like, it's so easy to get hit by enemies that are below you, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the same goes when you're trying to hit from the sides. You want to stand a little bit higher up than you think you want. And here we get
now we're
the
gonna see our
first transformation.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Well, we will not see it yet, but we got the first one.
And that's kind of the whole idea around this game is you're given, I think, 6 different transformations, and you kind of have to figure out which one to use to advance through the game casually.
I also just want to note that I noticed that Gnarblast is not going for the extra health upgrades, so that can
That should
be
save some time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can either save, like, it doesn't save that much time. I think there's 3 they can go for in this run, and I think the first one is like 15 seconds, the second one is 10 seconds, and the third one is half a minute. But it's still time that can be saved. And there we saw the transformation. You need to be a turtle to get blown up by the fire up that ledge.
And that's the whole reason we
Yeah.
had to pick up the turtle.
Yeah, and now we're getting to this big bridge, and you just want to hit the switches on the right side, I believe. Might be one you hit on the left side, I don't remember. Okay, one you hit on the left side apparently. But I know there's one you don't want to hit, because then you will just
Release the spears or whatever. This is always kind of a tough section the first time you play it.
Let's see.
All
Yeah,
that resistance.
I was just about to say, I think he's gonna save before this boss, because this boss can be a little bit easy to die on, because she splits up to these 4 slimes, and it's very easy to just get hit by them.
Mm-hmm. I think also what can be tough too is, so you have to hit those globular things right here, all 4 of them, to get off the screen. And when you start double tapping your attack button, that's how you go into that 1,000 stabs attack.
Yeah.
And that animation, once you hit it, you commit to it, and you can't break out until he's done stabbing. And so it's very easy to take damage on accident on this one. This is a really good fight by Reddy, by the way. He's killing this.
Yeah, that's one of the cleanest fights I've seen.
That was very nice.
And Gnarless and Squillybob is basically tied, like one room apart.
Yeah, you know, Squillybob did have a little bit of a lead coming into here, and Gnar just erased that. He is now in the lead.
Yeah,
but they're really close.
Yeah, he saved those 10 seconds on not picking up the health upgrade.
Well, and you can see a lot of this run. The optimizations on it are, you know, your lines. You know, Gnar was avoiding those enemies just perfectly and getting really good lines. I saw Squillybob on a turn, you know, kind of get hung up, which is easy to do because these people are double tapping on their D-pad to sprint. Because, of course, you know, it's Game Gear, you only got 2 buttons and a D-pad. So all this sprinting, it can be easy to get hung up, and you know, seeing Gnar's very clean lines is very impressive here.
Yeah, I don't know how many people know this, but you can actually tab the one button twice to start a run as well, if you do it in a rhythm.
I had no idea.
That's how I started doing it, because I'm so bad at double tapping on D-pad.
That is very cool. I had no idea.
It is slightly slower, because double tapping D-pad you can just do too quick. This one you need to do like tab to start the running, but it's way more consistent for me at least.
And one thing I want to point out for anyone that might have gotten discouraged, because a lot of people, you know, it's tough to double tap. It's hard for me to put in a lot of runs into Shinobi 3 because of that. You know, it'll start hurting my elbow. But one nice thing about this run is halfway through you pick up a mouse, and then you never have to double tap again in this. You just select mouse and you're twice as fast as you are at double tapping and sprinting. So there's a nice little, you know, section where once you get to it's like, okay, awesome, I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, also Gnar or Reddy picked up the next to transformation here, which is, I don't know what that one is. Is it a mole or is it something with claws at least that can break rocks? And the mermaid, so he can swim in the water to get to the next dungeon. And the reason why they are swapping back to the human form right now is because the human form just runs so much faster.
Exactly. And you can see over here on Gnar Blast, he is on this boss, and you can see he's definitely slower on the gobulets. And again, that's because they can easily take you out. He's doing a little bit more cautiously. And Squillybob here, like I was saying on this section, Reddy just killed it. He made that waterfall with this water resistance look really easy, but it's not. And that, you know, Squillybob, you know, had a couple parts there where had to restart their ascent up. But yeah, watching Squillybob and Gnar Blast fight this boss, Squillybob's actually doing a little risky here, but good fight too. But it really shows you how amazing Reddy's boss fight was there.
Yeah.
Very nice apple Squillybob took there.
So here on Reddy's side, you could see that he only pushed that block like off the button. And that's because this game actually just registers if something is on a button or if it's not. And because
we're gonna see it reset
it's
here.
It will just reset to the middle of the room, and that's the small optimizations you need to do in this game to really gain time.
That's such a really cool discovery too, just because, you know, instead of dragging it clear across the room, it really can save time.
Yeah, because when I was like blind learning this game, which I like to do a lot, like just learn the game without any videos. I was just pushing it to the middle, leaving, and then someone told me, oh, you can just push it off the bottom. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. So this boss that Red is on is really annoying. It can just decide to not wanna get hit.
Yeah, it's not a hard fight, but
No.
there's a lot of things that can go wrong in it.
Ooh, this is dangerous. I don't know if he's saved. I don't remember. Okay. Oh wait, the eye as well. This is the most dangerous. Okay, he has an apple. Oh, he missed. Clicked.
There we go. And a golden apple. Again, that's very much like Golden Axe Warrior. It refills your entire health.
Yeah. Having a little bit of... Ooh, this... Is... This... Okay, he didn't.
Clutch.
I was a little bit scared there, to be
I was
honest.
very worried. That would have definitely put Nar back in the hunt because Nar is getting close to that dungeon. And, of course, I believe he saved right before the boss. So I don't think it would have been that big of a time loss, but Reddy has just been tearing up this game, and it's been really fun to watch. So now we're going to see our second power by our turtle. So each one of those 5 forms there, you actually upgrade to 2 separate powers. So we get to see what the turtle's additional power is here. And we're getting really close to this goal. I believe he started it... I want to say I think he's only been playing for 15 minutes. This is very impressive by Reddy.
Yeah, I think the very fastest time were around the 17-minute mark.
Yeah. He's going to be right by that. He's probably going to beat that if I'm estimating correctly. Very, very impressive run by Reddy here.
Yes, something to mention, usually it's very easy to tell where you have people because usually, or there are always spreadsheets where people can just compare, compete, have fun, whoever can get the best time. But Reddy is one of the people that didn't put his time on the spreadsheet, so we don't really know his max potential. We knew before the race that he had a really good potential, but we didn't know how good he was in every single game.
And we're getting close. He's just got to show this prisoner the flowers he just acquired, and he'll be given a comb, completing comb percent. And Reddy will be moving on to the final game here. There it is. There's the comb. And Squilly Bob, I wanted to point out, he took a really smart safety strat. So where you pick up the... I don't know what you want to call this guy. The mole guy, the mole man. You can go over to another cave and be given another golden apple. So Squilly Bob went ahead and took a little bit of the time loss. He didn't go too far out of his way, but a nice safety pickup for him there, especially against this coming boss. As we could see, Reddy beforehand just clutched it out. It could have gone the other way, but it'll be nice that Squilly Bob has that extra apple.
Yeah,
and they're both on the statues. It's kind of cool seeing one go left and the other going right here.
Ooh, I think he was going for the cat boost at the beginning. I don't know if he needs to reset the game here, Reddy, or if it respawns. No, he will just take a death, okay. So I think he's going for the infamous cat boost, which doesn't really save that much time, but it's something that we memed about that you have to go for. But now everything should be fine here.
And for anyone unfamiliar with this game, I think this is probably the least known of the Illusion games. I was actually really surprised when I saw it pop up in the Game Gear library. I was like, oh, I gotta try this out. ton of fun. One of the big differences you'll notice is you just throw projectiles. They do take away the butt bounce. A little bit of puzzle solving in this game.
Yeah, I would say this game is a little bit more to the puzzle platformer side than the other ones are.
Yeah, you know, more in line with like a Land of Illusion had a lot of puzzles, but yeah, this one, it's like in every level. You gotta figure something out.
The monkeys. Yeah, this is probably the game I did play the least, but like I said, I think this is like my favorite Illusion game. It's just fun to play. And on this stage we will see the this mechanic only exists on this level, where you have like these magnets, like south and north magnets, and you need to use them to pull one out and the other one up. Right here you will see you're pulling out the south ones from the green. And here we have the first boss, which I believe is random where he spawns and everything.
Yeah, this boss can be tricky.
Yeah, he's having a little bit of trouble here.
I think a lot of these boss fights can be tricky. That's probably the toughest parts of the game, are some of these fights.
Yeah, I would say that this race is probably not over yet, because I know Gnarblast is insanely good at this, so maybe he can catch up the time needed here. And I think Squillybob has a really good time as well, so this race is far from over. Here we have a really what I like about this game, like from a casual perspective, is that in this level you can go the top route, you can go the bottom route, like there's so much to see on each level. But for the speedrunners, the top side is the fastest one. Also, in water, you actually want to take damage boost to gain time, but Ready does not have the health for it. So this will take slightly longer time, not too much extra time, but I'm so scared that he is gonna die on something. But now he should be safe now, because I don't think there are any more enemies in this level.
Reset that, and you know, just all these little mistakes. You know, we got Gnarblast over there on Legend and Squillybob, and like you said, you know, any of these people have the skill to turn this around. Reddy's got to just stay focused here and play the game he knows how to play.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said before, like the final 8 minutes of this game is basically an out-scroller, but they are boss fights, and like if you're a little bit nervous, like anything can happen on those boss fights, like especially the final boss, like avoiding damage is not as easy as it seems.
And I'm usually a huge fan of vertical platforming, but this vertical scroll sometimes is a little
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah, if this game didn't have that scroll, I would say this would be a really, really good game. But because of that, I'm gonna say it's an okay game. No,
I'd still say it's really good. I just wouldn't say it's great.
yeah, like I really like the vertical climbs as well in games. Like I think that's where most platformers shine, especially if they have good jumping mechanics.
I agree.
So in the state ready, so you can take quite a lot of damage boosts to save a lot of time. But you also don't want to take one extra. But dying in this game is not that bad because I believe you always spawn into the room you died in.
Mm-hmm. Well, and just an update on the other runners. You can see that both J. Fred there and Arnold's on Sylvan Tale, and we have Fede and Random 64 both on Master of Darkness. So everyone making good progress here.
Fred is having a tough time on this boss. Like these black things are so dangerous because they have no like logic in their
Mm-hmm.
movement.
They could just spawn on top of you whenever they want.
But the boss that Red is coming up to here is actually a very technical boss to actually get every cycle into. You have to, on the first phase, you have to hit one of the ladders. On the second phase, you need to react quickly to where he spawns. And on the third phase, you need to hit him when it goes down. So he got 2 out of the 3 hits. He missed a roar hit right there. And the interesting part is you might see that Norblast is playing a level that Reddit yet have played. And that's basically because you can, when you get to this point, you can pick between the ice level or the field level.
And Nar went field first, and as you can see, and as Reddy's about to show off to the parallax scrolling. Think about this.
Yeah,
This is the Game Gear.
yeah,
And look
it
at
looks
this.
amazing.
Yeah, this is a
Like,
very nice tech demo going on in this level.
yeah, like this whole game looks amazing for the Game Gear. I mean, I would say most games for the Game Gear looks amazing for the Game Gear.
I'm
Because
right there with you. I wasn't, really exposed. My sister did have a Game Gear, but if you know me and my sister's relationship, we didn't share anything. So I never got to touch the Game Gear. So I'm always so impressed when I see these games.
yeah, like was the Game Gear competing with the Game Boy or was it
I
like
mean,
in
they
between?
wanted to, but I mean, the Game Boy just there you couldn't compete with it. It just,
No, no,
ruled everything.
but if you look at like this compared to a Game Boy game, I would say this looks more fun.
Yeah, and I think that's always been Sega's go-to is, really nice looking graphics. Sometimes gameplay's secondary, but it's always great when it's like both of those are top notch. And more times than not on the Game Gear, they were able to deliver that. And, here in North America, and I guess Japan too. The lifespan of the Master System was very short. So Sega was still making great 8-bit games on the Master System, but in North America and Japan, they would come out on, Game Gear. This is how we were meant to play them.
Yeah, I didn't even know Game Gear existed until I was an adult, basically.
Was there much of a presence of Game Gear in Europe?
Not in Sweden, at least. Like, I didn't know anyone that had one, and I never seen one at a thrift store either. So I can't imagine it was that popular.
What about Game Boy? Was Game Boy pretty popular?
Yeah, I mean, everyone had a Game Boy. Like even I that grew up in a poor family had a Game Boy. So
Mm-hmm.
so like everyone had a Game Boy. We exchanged games all the times. So yeah, like I would say like if we're comparing like the the NES, Super Nintendo to the Mega Drive and Master System, it was way that was pretty equal in Sweden, I would say. But the Game Gear, I just never heard about at all.
Yeah, we had pretty cool commercials. That was pretty much my only exposure.
And now Reddit is on the auto-scroller half of the game, which actually starts with an actual auto-scroller. But then we will have two bosses that are gonna take a while to kill because for some reason they thought like, okay, let's make sure that players get to play the bosses for a long time.
Oh, we got some more roars. Got to throw out my roar remote always.
Roar.
I do like that door animation. That's a nice little subtle thing they didn't need to do. That
Yeah,
spinning animation for the door.
yeah,
Very
and
nice.
uh, and as you just saw, uh, what is his name? Is it Peter or
Yeah,
what's?
Pete.
Yeah, Pete. He was a beaver, and now he's a wizard. So he was a beaver wizard for a little bit. So for this phase, you basically just run around. He will either throw a lightning bolt or he will throw a fireball. I don't know which one is fastest. I would assume lightning bolt is slightly faster, but it's probably not gonna save more than half a second per cycle. And he takes, I think it's 7 hits or 8, and that's the final hit. And now Pete's, I guess he turns into a dragon, and you need to throw your projectile on into his mouth while he is going to breathe fire, so you can jump on the bubble on top of it, and then on top of his head, so he throws the spike ball.
Silly
And
dragon.
you might think, well, 3 hits would be enough here, but the devs decided they wanted it to be like, I don't know it. No, actually, I've never counted, but it feels like it's like 10 hits.
Hmm.
I will count now so we get an answer. It's 3 hits so far.
I think they were just in love with this dragon artwork, and how can you not be?
Yeah, I
You
mean the dragon does look good, and that was 4 hits. And Gnorblast is starting the outscroller levels as well. And that was 5 hits. And I
And Squibbly
saw,
Bob's pretty close too to starting the auto scroller.
yeah, and that's hit number 6. I did see in the corner that Arnold died on the slimy blob girl boss.
And he didn't put a save outside the boss door, so he's having to redo. And you can see, look at his health during this section. He's not in good shape.
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens here. J Fred, that he just completed the final boss fight to this challenge. Now he just needs to run, open up the dam, get the flowers, get the comb, and he'll be on the final game. It was that hit 7 or was that hit 8?
that was hit number 8.
Hit 8. And the final. So you were
Yeah,
close.
yeah, and Gnarblast is just one boss behind. You actually have to do some platforming here at the end, but it's really not that hard. Like, I've never seen anyone die here, but maybe I'm saying that for a commenter curse right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the final boss in this game is no joke because it's actually really hard to grab the bombs that Pete is throwing. And not only that, it's actually kind of hard to avoid him when he runs towards you. Like, you have way less of a window than you actually think.
You're just so nonchalant about throwing those bombs too.
Yeah. Like, one of the hardest part of this boss fight is your momentum actually, because you kind of don't want to continue your momentum when you grab the bomb, but if you don't continue your momentum, you will just drop the bomb straight down. We can see the top 3 players are each on one of the final 3 bosses right now.
All these Pete's on the screen.
Yeah, and this is exactly why I love the Game Gear 5. Is that every single time the races comes down to being this close. Like, this is basically a death in one game, and it could have
Hmm.
looked like completely different.
Yeah, they're just a few minutes separated at most. It's
Yeah,
very impressive. And again, I want to shout out not only JKL who was putting in early work, but PTAC. He had the best time in practice leading up to this point and wasn't able to compete this weekend. And there we go. That's
yeah,
our official
winner.
winner. First place ready with an official time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 44 seconds. That's just incredible.
Yeah, that's a really good race time. I believe the best times before was like 801 or 8109 or something, but it's completely different on race day to perform at that level.
Agree, agree. And ready, it was so clean, top to bottom. There were a few points on Legend here. That was really the only time I could remember pointing out though. It's like, oh, that was not as clean as he wanted it. And still then, they weren't major mistakes. He just took this race by storm, and it was
Yeah,
really impressive to watch.
yeah, I would say the only part I really know, or where he made mistake, was in Tempo Junior, missing the first skip.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's
And
a good
at,
point.
and then at the start of Mickey's, he looked a little bit shaken after missing the cat boost,
Yeah,
and
and I think it
and
just
during
coming.
the first boss. But
Yeah.
other than that, he was playing really well.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the coming into Legend was just the fact that, you're coming off of Sylvan and now you're going straight into this kind of, straight ahead platformer, and it definitely has a different feel.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that is needed to be said. Like, like it's hard to go from an adventure RPG game to a platformer really quickly. So like, that's one of the things you really need to practice with full runs, is just
Three.
getting the feel for how you
Yeah, see, I have to.
how you
There's no way there's
adjust to
still
those
missing
changes.
2 more.
I think Narblast is about to be done here as well. I really
Yeah,
love
3 minutes.
pizza running and animation here. And that's time for Gnarblast.
I'm slightly
Seems to
annoyed.
That's
be
right.
around
Official.
113.
Yep, 113.10. So just less than 3 minutes there. Like I said, just a few minutes separating these runners. Absolutely amazing.
All right, we're gonna send you over to. Where are we? Yeah, well, we're gonna send you guys over to the race channel so you guys can watch the end of the race.
And here we go with Squilly Bob. He's
I'll be
getting
on tonight. We're gonna
close.
get on Ultima.
Was this the
And,
third Game
yeah,
Gear race?
That's
This was,
the plan.
yep. Absolutely.
That's the plan moving.
So
moving
one
forward for the
interesting
year.
part is
thanks for the
I
GGs,
think
everybody.
it's
Thanks for the
Game
bits, I
Gear
appreciate that.
the race
Thanks,
that
everybody.
have had different winners every
we
single
knew
time.
what we were going in. You know, we knew what.
Oh,
we were
I
going
think
race.
you're right. I've never realized,
hit
but
the-
I do
the bad
believe
bugs
that
in
is
the-
true. We've had
Yeah.
a
the
new
bottom
winner
spectrum, but it's
every
okay.
single time we've done a
I
Game Gear
personally
race.
think we did pretty
Yeah,
well.
I
Everything
think
else, I think was
Opla
okay.
won the first one and I won the
No
second
major
one.
mistakes
So
anywhere else.
with
So,
Ready, we have a third winner.
yeah, anyway,
And I
thanks for
think
watching, guys.
Narblast
We'll
has
send you
come
over
in
to, the
third,
official race
second,
channel,
and second now.
and I hope you guys have a good rest
So
of
he
your day.
will
We're gonna
be
come back
looking
later
for that
tonight, normal
win
stream time.
next year.
He's
And
always
we are
so
going
consistent.
to
He's always in the top 2 or 3.
start
And,
up with,
any of these races, you always know going
thanks
in
for the
that
support,
NAR
everybody. I
is,
really do appreciate
could
it. I know
easily
the time's a
win
little
that
different.
race.
You know, for these races, it's early. So I do
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
it. So thanks, guys.
and something you
Have a
really
good one.
need
See
to
y'all later.
realize with Gnorblast as well is that he usually doesn't go super hard into the races until like the final week.
Hmm.
So like him getting such good times is really impressive.
Well, that's it for Squilly Bob. He didn't hit finished on race time, so we won't have an official time, but I believe it was around 1:15 even, maybe a little bit lower. Finished on race time, so we won't have to have someone correct me on that. But I do also see Squilly Bob is in Discord here, and we'll want to bring him in and chat with our third place winner, and we'll also hopefully get you the other 2 racers that have already finished. But let's go over here to J. Fred and Arno, who are on the number 4 and number 6 game here, or number 4 and number 5 game here.
Yeah, being on the 6th game would have been kinda amazing. So yeah, we have Squilly Bob going through the bottom route here actually. Which I've never seen the bottom route, but
All right, and JKL, we have our third place winner here, Squilly Bob, with us, who unofficially had a 15. Might have been a few seconds below that. We'll have to take a look and get
My
time.
splits say 1:14:44.
There we go. I'll go ahead and put that on there. And GG, Squilly Bob. This was your first multi-game race, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And how do you feel it went?
Considering how early in the morning it is, yeah, I actually went really well.
That's
Like,
true. It was 4 a.m. Was your what time the race started for you locally?
That's correct, yeah, on a Sunday morning. But yeah, my Baku went okay. I was worried about that. My Master of Darkness was a little janky, but went okay. Sylvan Tail, I got 4 apples. I'm not sure if anybody saw that, but 4 apples is ridiculous luck. And yeah, I was pretty happy with most of the runs. Tempo Junior, I thought 13:30 would be the worst I want to get. and I got a 1330, so bad first boss fight. But overall, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, we were keeping track. It was really fun in Tempo Junior when you guys are getting to the grudge matches, and we could compare the RNG. And Narblast got Penguin, and you got Frog, and so we knew right there. It's like, okay, that's some time that Squilly Bob's going to leave on the table. That wasn't on him. That is just the game throwing him a curveball.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Gruntmeister probably explained this in the chat. I didn't get to see, but you've got a 50-50 chance of getting the Penguin or the Frog first time, and 50-50 chance of getting the Clown or the BB the second time. And I think Narblast got the BB as well the second time, which is a little bit faster. So yeah, it came down to that Frog fight.
Yep, absolutely. What about the rest of the games? How do you feel those went?
I don't really like Master of Darkness. I'm not very good at it. So I took all the safety strats. Like, I get the axe in the first stage, for example. I get a lot of bombs because the Act 2 boss is not very consistent for me, so I just throw bombs at it. But Master of Darkness was okay. 14 minutes is fine for me. Baku, I don't do the speedrun strat where you just slam down all the pieces. I actually just play the game. So 628 was pretty good for that. Silvertail, again, I had the 4 apples. That was really good luck. I never died, so that was great. And then Legend of Illusion, I had a bit of trouble in the Ready Lion boss. I'm calling it the Ready Lion. But other than that, it went completely fine.
Yeah, you were really close hanging on to Narblast the whole time, and Narblast was right there with Reddy. So it was really exciting watching all 3 of you runners just on pace. And we really didn't know, kind of like what JKL said just earlier, is it came down to, a boss fight. If Reddy had, died on just any one of those boss fights in Legend or, anywhere in Sylvan, it could have easily been a Narblast or a Squilly Bob winner. So you coming into your first multi-game race and just competing at that high level, it was so much fun to watch, especially at 4 a.m. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I wasn't even really comfortable until Baku, like just of tiredness. But after that, I was having a lot of fun. It was great. GG's to Reddy, and I did see I was fairly close to Narblast. Like, I looked over at the live stream and he was in the Pete fight as I was coming into the Pete fight, so that was nice and close for second and third.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you all 3 was actually on one phase of the final Pete's fights at one point, so we got to see all 3 Pete's fights in a row.
That was
I
really
didn't
cool.
realize Reddy was close. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but like you were really close to winning. I would say like the only difference was that Reddy had an amazing Baku Baku time. Like, that's where his big time save was in this race.
Yeah, GG's to Reddy. He's got the world record in the game. He's quite good at it.
Yeah, I saw he actually wasn't using my strat, which is just pushing everything down. It looked like he actually had an idea how to play the game, so it was really fun to watch him.
Oh, that's good. That's the way I play as well. So yeah, I'm glad that strat won.
Yeah, I think Norblast did the aggressive strat, which I did say like I think like you can do well with that strat, but if you actually know how to play the game, you can probably get more consistent times.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about that game as well. I tried to base my run off the Saturn world record, and the Saturn world record plays the game very well.
That's interesting. Well, and we're talking about world records here, and of course, Squilly Bob's world record in Tempo Junior. Is there any of these other games that you think you're going to pursue speedruns goals on?
Yeah, I'm quite interested in Silvertail. I don't know how the 90% run's going to go. I've never used the mouse either, and I know the mouse is a big part of that game. But I'll definitely investigate it. It's a really nice looking game, great sounding game. I think it's a lot of fun.
That's great to hear, because that's probably my favorite game on this list, and this list is just stacked with monsters. But yeah, I would love to see more runners on that speedboard because right now there's only two. It's only 100% is the only category. So to see an any percent open up and get a sub hour would be super cool to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so Squilly Bob, you think you'll be competing in any more races? What about the Master 8 coming up? Does this kind of tickle that bone for you?
Again, it's going to depend on the time of day that it's on. Like if it's too early, sometimes I do miss a few. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, yeah, it's always these times, and I do feel bad. You know, at last Master 8, we had 8-Bit Beast, and he's there in Australia, and yeah, 4 a.m. That is kind of tough to commit to, so I completely understand.
Yeah, for sure. I have missed a few SegaCrew events, but there's nothing I can do about it. That's just how the world works.
Damn this world. Yeah, that is true.
I mean, us European could just stay awake a little bit longer, and you could have the race a little bit later.
That's true. That is true. Maybe we're catering the European runners or the North American runners, for that matter, maybe a little too much. And
yeah.
So,
I think
that's a good
becomes
idea.
the standard.
Especially with our runs, I never really thought about this, and I'm kind of glad now that we're having this conversation because we model so much of what we do on what the bigger runners do, especially, Best of Ness, which is why this was created, was of course Big 20.
Yep.
And, that's such a long race. You're talking about 5 hours and plus for most of those racers to compete in. Where over on SegaCrew, it's 90-minute goals, 2 hours, and I think having a later or an earlier start would make more sense because these aren't as long of a marathon goal.
Oh yeah,
To be a little more friendly.
That's something that could be brought up as a discussion, like I say for big 20s, like I start to get tired when it gets a little bit late, but like Japanese players or Australian players, they mainly do not have an option to join even. So
yeah,
like that's a small price I can pay for having more people from other countries join.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that's something we are definitely going to bring up. Well, Squilly Bob, we always like to ask, favorite, least favorite games, what you thought of the list, all that stuff. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, Tempo Junior is my favorite game. I have over 200 runs in that game, so that goes without saying. And I'm just not good at Master of Darkness. It's not my style of game. I'm sure Narblast will say the same thing about Baku. It's not his style of game. But I think the list was really, really good. I mean, I wouldn't have participated if I didn't like the games. And I thought it was a good format. I liked the goals as well. The goals of each game were pretty much perfect.
All right. That's great to hear. Well, cool. I also see we have Narblast hanging out here. Let me reach out to him real quick.
Okay, I'm going to head off. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Squilly Bob, and GG's again. Amazing race.
Okay, just catching up with the racers between interviews here. I see that Jayfred is on the first phase of Pete here, and entering the second phase here. And I believe we have Gnarblast with us now.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Narblast, GG. We got our second place winner here at
Single G,
113.10.
A G happened. Yeah, I didn't think we were gonna die on that third Baku guy. But,
Yeah, I saw that.
like it was. We cleared. He cleared the board like twice. Or she, I think it's a princess or something, whatever it was. But she was on the verge of death twice, and then we're just gonna clear the entire board on you. But
Oof.
it happened. We kind of, I've been talking about this for all the past week. Like it's either 5 minutes or 10 minutes. There's nothing in the middle. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, we had the 10-minute time.
You know, and I knew that was going to be something going into this race where, you know, it could really decide someone's race because with 5 games, there's not a lot of time that can be made up.
Yeah,
If it was a longer race.
especially when the 2 games are pretty much set. Like the routes are set, and everyone kind of knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, but again, you know, I mean, I've been saying for a few years, like, I mean, you do need a little bit of luck, I think, to win these races. So it just didn't happen today. It happens, you know.
Yep.
But the list was amazing. I had a lot of fun learning the games. So you guys are always put together really good lists.
Well, that's great to hear. What were some of your favorite games, least favorite games?
Revisiting Master of Darkness was kind of cool. I had kind of forgotten about it because we did it for a previous Master 8. And then revisiting that. And then, you know, I don't know if you guys talked about the firestorm that happened yesterday with the new GIP or whatever that was discovered. But
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it.
yeah, then like Baku Baku almost kept me out of the race completely. I just didn't want to learn another puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Think Ready told me, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, yeah, if you want, just like, I think it was Ready. He said, yeah, just build up the sides and then hope for the best. And it was actually relatively consistent. So once that game was like under control to where like I could at least do the goal without really panicking, everything else fell into place. It was fine. I really want to go back and finish Sylvan Tale, but I want to play the English patch because I actually want to know what's going on.
Heck yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That seems to be everyone's favorite game, which makes me super happy.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at it, it's surprising that it never made it out to the States. Like, the game is good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Usually the stuff that doesn't make it out is like stuff that they maybe don't think they can make any money on it, but that's a good game. I don't understand why it didn't get localized.
Mm-hmm. The only thing, you know, I could think why it didn't get localized, and they could have changed this so that, you know, maybe this is just an excuse, but when you read the fan translation, and again, maybe it's not exact, but the game gets dark. And, you know, maybe they were a little worried that it might be a little too mature for.
Well, you find a fetus in Earthbound. Like,
yeah. I can't argue that.
Yeah, like I mean, to be fair, that was like a few years later, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But shoot, what else? Yeah, so I came here to complain and say nothing's my fault. It was all your fault. Tempo Junior is amazing. I am so sad that game isn't like still a franchise now. Like, like with the new technologies and the upgrades and everything, like to make. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with Tempo Junior, even though the frame rate's kind of 4 frames a second or whatever it is. It's still really fun to play.
Charming.
Yeah, it's a really good game. The little dance sequences and stuff is kind of like a weird, kind of like a Moonwalker kind of vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Legend of Illusion, I didn't even know that existed until this race. I knew about the other two, World and Castle. I didn't know this was Legend existed. So that was cool. I said it last time, but I do want to go back and finish Master of Darkness because we played 3/5 of the game, and the last level is like literally like 3 screens.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of the game left.
I want to see where these new strats can take these runners. I mean, are you skipping Dracula at the end too? I mean, I want to see how this works.
Yeah, so last night we were testing out like what happens when you do it on level 5 because there is an area to do the glitch, and you literally skip to just the final scene of Dracula falling down. That's it.
Wow, and that's where that's in the rules where you split to end the timer, so you could make a case that hey, it works. Yeah, it cuts straight to like the bright red screen. Like that's like the last screen you see in the game. Like when you beat Dracula, he's like falling down, but you see like it's like him in the red screen. Like it cuts to that red screen. No dialogue. Hilarious.
Yeah. We were messing around with it last night just to kind of honestly, we were trying to, I was trying to route it a little bit, trying to figure out what the best spots were to do it. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting revelation. I don't know. I was ready to use it in the race. Because again, like my arguments were like, I think from a watching standpoint, it would be a little bit boring just watching people kill themselves for 10 minutes. But I also understand the idea of wanting to just, break a game and then be done with it.
Yeah.
Like I do see both sides of it.
I'm actually kind of glad that we didn't, because that means we can always bring this game back. Because
for any percent completion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had this thought where it's such a short race. If we allow this strat now, this game that should take 15, 17 minutes is now going to take 10.
Yeah.
So, now we can bring it back and do a beat the game goal, because that's going to be doable with this strat.
Yeah. No, it was, yeah, we were having fun with it last night, just trying to figure out, kind of how it works.
Yeah, I told Norblast that it was a good thing that Orbit found it, because if I found it, I would have kept it a secret.
And we couldn't do anything because we want to know anything.
You cannot ban something that you didn't know before the race.
Yeah, no. Oh shoot, there was. I'm trying to think of another race where something was discovered, and it was banned. I think it was banned. I don't know. But
yeah, I did send you that Tiny Ted clip.
That was funny. The whole chat exploded because no one knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean that's what I like about these races, is when someone does something that no one has a clue what's happening.
It would have been funny too with this strat, because it's just like, oh, and JKL takes a death, and he's in the lead. How? What?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, it's like, and he's starting level 3. What?
And he skipped the boss fight. What's going on here?
Yeah, no, that was it. Well, and the fact that it works in the Master System is funny too, because that means they just copy and pasted the code.
Yeah. Apparently,
I mean, they got lazy. But
oh, I can't wait for there. So Ed Annunziato has this Discord, and there was a conversation where one of the developers in there worked on this game, Vampire, and they were saying that code was, how Castlevania Bloodlines was born. That was kind of like the test run for Bloodlines. Oh, and so it's kind of funny how just a few months later, we speedrunners go out and find how broken that game is.
Again, like could we have the kind of little kangaroo court kind of thing, involving using the strat or not? Yes, basically like last night. Like it all happened within like a couple hours, like kind of late at night. But like I was prepared to do all, like I had little handwritten notes, like I was ready to go.
I love it. It sounded like everyone was. Squilly Bob was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Arno was.
Yeah, people like we were routing it last night, like trying to figure out exactly, like because a big part is like the damage isn't super consistent, so you need to like really understand where your health is at, because the pellets, or like the little hit point dots, they're not quite accurate. So it's a matter of like keeping track in your head, like how many actual hit points have you taken. So like as we were going through, I was making notes on like enemies to hit, spikes to hit, stuff like this to keep track. So every time I got to a potion, it was like right away we can do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, smart. Well, I want to shout out JFred had finished with an official time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds. Great time. Again, I thought sub 90 around there was going to win, and that's fourth place is right around that 90-minute mark. So it's just incredible race from everyone that joined, and big GG's. Shout out to JFred.
Yeah, I do want to say, going into this race until last night, this might have been the first race that a game didn't get exploded. And then Vampire, then Master of Darkness happened. Because usually these races, someone finds something weird that no one knew about, and records get broken, and it's a big scramble for everyone to get a record real quick. And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
seems
I'm
like
surprised.
that's happening now. So.
Yeah, I'm really surprised it doesn't happen more often on the 5G race, just because these Game Gear games aren't ran as
Yeah, they're
often.
not the best. Yeah, they're just little. The code I'm assuming is kind of small to fit onto the
Mhm.
cart.
Yep, that makes sense, and absolutely. And in handheld, I'm sure you're cutting a little more corners.
Yeah, well,
You're
one thing I think that the
get a
Game Gear
little.
does is kind of smart is they to maintain graphics they zoom in, which it can be kind of frustrating. You play like Mega Man, like he's like almost as big as a screen, but
And
it
Legend has some of these scrolling problems, like with the vertical scrolling because of that, how zoomed in it is.
yeah, I mean that was the one thing that kind of I kind of didn't like about Legend of Illusion. If you hit like the certain plane, you would like zip up and then come back down, like the transition. So it was kind of hard to get some jumps together because you're having to like time your button press to when the screen scrolls down, you land on the thing, then you have to jump again, and then you scroll the screen up again because you hit the plane, and you come back down, then you have to like shoot, throw a bubble or what. Like some of that stuff was a little frustrating, but overall, I think it was really good. It was a good game.
Heck yeah. Well, we're about to wrap this up. We got Arnold. He is about to face the final form here. And over on Fede, he is on Sylvan Tale. It looks like he just started. He's playing the American version and going pretty slowly. So I'm guessing this is pretty blind for him. So that'll be fun to watch. And of course, we got Random 64 over on the Skull Boss. On Master of Darkness, on Vampire Master of Darkness. I did mention that to Random, I'd probably raid him, but it looks like he's having a little bit of stream issues. So we'll probably raid this off to Fede and see them wrap up this race. But definitely, once he's done, also root on Random, who joined this race also blind.
Oh, and have you guys decided when you guys are doing the Master 8? Is that the next one?
That will be the next one. That usually takes place in April. I think the first weekend in April. So we'll have that list announcement first week of March. So a few months off, and everyone can get ready to do the Master 8, which might be my favorite race that we do on the SegaCrew.
Yeah, personally, I like because again, I'm more of a Nintendo guy, So you guys put together such a good list that it makes me really want to jump into the libraries of like all the consoles you guys have been doing. So, like like the Game Gear stuff, I've been really falling in love with. I really like all the stuff you guys have been picking for it has been pretty good. In the Master System, I get like the more I compare Master System to NES, the Master System generally wins. So.
Yeah. I agree with that statement.
Yeah, so it's it's really cool that you guys are you have enough people knowledgeable enough to put these lists together that they're all pretty engaging and are really fun. So
well, heck yeah, we love to hear that feedback because I mean it's all about the entertainment value, but also we want games fun that runners are going to get into, put up times for the board, break them open. And just especially you two know you guys are such big NES fans that when you get on SRC and compare a top game, like Legend of Zelda, and you got to go 4 pages to see all the runners, and then the only thing that comes close to that would be like Sonic the Hedgehog with 80 runners, and it's just like you can see the disparity. So it's really nice. Getting everyone to see these games and, seeing world records fall and getting new runners. And that's what it's all about.
Well, yeah, like with the new runners, like we, with the Sega 16 or the Sega 8, where like we blew up the Three Ninjas, like that game got all broken up. And then JKL figured out almost all of the quick catches in Tom and Jerry for the second Master 8. And then that sent that like as it was, that record was like 1 minute and 10 seconds or something. It was like something really, really low already, and we were able to get it like lower than that. Like it's cool to have like there's more people that have they have a different approach to how the games how they play games and how they look for stuff, and generally things just end up kind of working out. I think when we did with the animated Spider-Man game, I broke it. And we almost hit a credits warp, but we didn't. Came close. Yeah, it's just again, I always try to come back to the community. It's always fun to watch everyone kind of work together and try to just do their best to play the games well, play the games fast, but also in the background there are people trying to break the games too. So sometimes it works. Sometimes things get found out. So
that's. Oh, go on, JKL.
Yeah, and that's something we talked about at the start of the race. Like even if you're not part of joining the race, like there's so many like small things you're trying to break and trying to get better. Like you're still part of the race even if you're not racing. Like you will help the other players.
Yeah, I agree. I really like that too, and we shouted JKL and Patak out early on because they were almost like that pace car, in racing, where it's like they kind of, even though they weren't part of this race today, they helped set the pace for today's race. And I don't think this race would have been so close and these times so incredible if it wasn't for some of the runners that maybe didn't participate today but were involved early on.
Well, because what you need is I think for a race to be fun, from a racer standpoint, is you need competition. So if you see someone putting up these good times, like I always compare myself to like the top times. I do my best, but we're usually top 3 or 4, and that's usually with a little bit of luck. It's usually enough to do really well in these races because the luck can go either way. So if you can go within the top 3 spaces, I think you generally have a chance to win any of these races. And to see people. To see the competitive people put their times up, consistently, and update them, and it gives you a goalpost, right? So I have to step it up here. I'm 3 minutes back. There's no way I'm going to be able to maintain a pace if I'm going to start 3 minutes behind everybody. So, I like the idea of everyone coming together with the spreadsheets and even the Discords, and all just talking to each other. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. And like I think that's amazing with the spreadsheet that always comes with these races is that like you always have something to aim for. Even if you're not like an Armblast and wanna aim to be on the top, you have someone else to compete with. So you never need to feel like you're alone in your bracket, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, there's always someone to compare yourself to.
There's always somebody close enough that it can give you motivation. Like it doesn't, like just to, like because I came in kind of late to the practicing of this stuff, so I came into the spreadsheets. Everyone's already all their gold times are ridiculous. They're all within 30 seconds of world records on everything. So, like going into that, like I know I'm not going to be able to do that in the first couple days, but I can start chipping away. I can see other people and I can kind of use them as temporary goals, and then eventually, we can get a little better.
Heck yeah. Well, I just want to shout out too that Arnold finished. This was a while ago, but our official 5th place time there by Arno, he came in at 1 hour 42 minutes and 12 seconds, just a tiny bit, under 10 minutes from J-Fred there. So all very close, all very, very amazing runs today.
All right, I got to get going. Well, I'm excited for Master 8. I'm always in for these races. So
absolutely.
Thank you guys for all the work you do on the back end. I do know. Again, it's difficult to really get everything set up, get everyone on time, to get everything ready to go. So I do appreciate it. Thanks everybody. And looking forward to the next one. So.
Well, thank you, Narblast, and GG again.
Yeah.
And I do think we're about to wrap up here. JKL, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I don't have. Well, like like we talked about here, like these races are for fun, for breaking down speed runs, for building communities. So like if you're a viewer watching this, like next time maybe come into the SegaCrew Discord, try and learn a few games. Like maybe you will not join the race, but at least you will try a few games. Maybe you will find your next speedrun game. Who knows? So
Exactly.
yeah,
Well, very cool. We are gonna send this away. Like I said, we got 2 racers still racing. We got Fede PG 52, which that's where we will head off to, and then also we got Random 64, both playing these blind. So 5G continues all weekend until all these racers finish up. So definitely follow us over there and give them some good luck and some love. And I hope you guys enjoyed this race. It's always about, like I said, both sides, the racers and the viewers, because after all, that's what we all are. And hopefully you walked away with going, man, I want to play this game.
yeah. I hope someone saw a game they really want to try here.
Absolutely. And so thank you so much, and congratulations to all the racers today. You know, once again, we had Reddy coming at first with an insane time of 110. Narblast in second, just right behind at 113. Squilly Bob just a minute behind that, 114. J Fred at 4th place at an hour 32, just right by that 90-minute mark. And Arnaud right there at 5th with an hour 42. All incredible times.